All right, we are live. UFC 262 full card predictions and, of course, the betting preview as well. Looking forward to this card. Have some stacked action throughout, bottom all the way up to the top. We have some good fights, and obviously that main event for being a vacant title fight. The hype around that huge. Super excited to see what happens. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. On this video, goal 150 likes. So make sure you guys smash those likes. We're going to start it off. First fight of the night, all the way at the bottom of the card. Sean Soriano and Christos Giagos. Soriano's been outside of the UFC for a while, has somewhat of a spotty record outside of the UFC. He wasn't undefeated since originally being released. He's taken some L's. He's taken on Giagos, who has some decent experience in the UFC at this point. I mean, the opponent level hasn't been bad. He's fought Charles Oliveira. He's got some wins in here against lesser level guys. Lost to Drakkar Close, but in the last fight on short notice, dominated Carlton Minus, who was 10-2. Sean Soriano and him. Obviously, I gotta favor Giagos in this matchup here. Things I like from Soriano are definitely his striking. He has a modified Thai style, and he is pretty fast with his combinations. And I would call him an explosive puncher. Has 7 wins by knockout, but Giagos, rangy style of striker, will be a tough matchup for Soriano, especially because he's going to look to set up takedowns. He uses the striking to get the fight to the ground. I got Giagos wrestling the hell out of Sean Soriano and winning this fight by, I would say, a unanimous decision. Now, if you are looking to place a bet on this fight, if you're watching live, you should probably do it soon. If you're watching a replay, hopefully the odds haven't spread too crazy, because I did look at the odds a bit earlier on today and they weren't terribly strong in favor of Giagos, who I think is a clearly superior fighter to Sean Soriano. So let's check out what the current odds are being listed at. All right, you're finding minus 200 for, my opinion, the fair favorite Giagos, but if you can get it at that minus 175, not a bad price tag. I don't see Soriano offering much defense to the grappling heavy game of Giagos, and capable striker as well. So going Giagos to start off the night, be a fun card. Looking forward a lot of these matches. Let's talk about the next one. You got Aguilar, opposite side position here. Lutz coming into the UFC after 2 straight consecutive impressive Dana White's Contender Series performances. He now fights Kevin Aguilar, who's just not looked great in the UFC. Let's be honest. Had a good amount of hype coming in, just 1 loss as a pro, and then he fought the UFC level competition. Let's quickly look at Aguilar's record and talk about some of the fights outside of the UFC. He beat Fan Lee, who fights over in one championship and is champion there. Joey Gomez and him went the distance, split decision, competitive fight, but Gomez, yes, his record 7-0, wasn't at that level. And it was very close. He did beat Rick Glenn and Enrique Barzola. I mean, you got to give respect to those names. They are UFC names, but Ige beats him. He gets beaten badly by Zubiria, and then he loses to Charles Rosa, which at that point, that's a bad loss now, because Rosa's definitely more on a downhill streak and is not ranking among top fighters in the featherweight or lightweight division. Tucker Lutz, on the other hand, hot prospect coming in. There's things to like for Tucker Lutz from what I saw. Solid kickboxing, who really chops at the legs, nasty leg kicks. He will come forward with punches and mix it up with the hands as well. He does like the straight right hand. He is an orthodox fighter. And his decent wrestling, definitely going to be a positive factor in this fight. And he's also very physically strong. Aguilar is scrappy. Bit of a square stance, but definitely more of a boxing heavy attack. I don't know. I just feel like Aguilar is going to get beat here. I think he might get knocked out by Tucker Lutz, to be 100% honest with you guys here at 32. Not necessarily an older fighter, but 3 hard losses in a row. And hasn't looked super fast. And I think the speed difference here will be evident. And that's why I like Tucker Lutz. I think, though, unanimous decision, Tucker Lutz. That's going to be my pick in this fight. We'll check the odds out, what that will be sitting at. Can we find Tucker Lutz and Aguilar? Yes, Tucker Lutz, minus 125 favorite, plus 105 dog. I like the minus 125 favorite in Tucker Lutz in this matchup. He's going to beat Kevin Aguilar. Let's get to the next fight of the night. Gina Mazzani taking on Priscilla Cachoeiro. I love this matchmaking. Both girls not extremely high level. Both girls have some bad losses, especially Julia Avila. I think that was a 20-second knockout over Gina Mazzani. What was that, a year ago? 10 months ago, so about a year ago almost. And then a year ago, Shayna Dobson got slept by Priscilla Cachoeiro. Matchup wise, there's things to like about Gina Mazzani. She is moderate favorite, minus 120, 5'6", 68.5-inch reach. And from what I've seen, I mean, she is a tricky southpaw, a very interesting stance, athletic, definitely lots of hand movement, and she does move very well. Her footwork is at a fairly high level, and she is physically strong, and her grappling skills are good. But something that I see by a round and a half in, so once you start pushing to that 2 minutes left in that second round, I noticed Mazzani tends to gas a little bit, especially if you look at that Ostovich fight. The gas tank was maybe a bit of an issue. Still, got a win there, but something to note against Priscilla Cachoeiro, who's no Rachel Ostovich. Much higher level. She's very violent, very aggressive with her hands, and does have pretty good boxing, looping hooks, and knockout power. 5 wins by knockout. More of her wins by knockout than anything else. I think that's a real factor here. Mazzani in the UFC, I mean, she was out of the UFC for a while, won on the regional scene, and then came back, lost to Avila, and then beat Ostovich, who's no longer in the UFC, has a losing record. Priscilla Cachoeiro, as a plus 170 dog, to me is insane. I don't agree with that. She should be the favorite. I have Priscilla Cachoeiro winning this fight. I think she stops Gina Mazzani in this matchup. Mazzani looked very good in the last fight, sure, but it was Rachel Ostovich. Sure, Cachoeiro hasn't done extremely well against some of the higher level girls. Still think she's the better fighter out of these two, and I think the aggressiveness with the striking alone will get her a second round knockout over Gina Mazzani in this matchup. Going with the plus 170 dog here. Let's see if those dog standings are still accurate. Plus 175, plus 185, you can find it. Throw some dinero down if you wait. Have to say, one note, a realistic note, it's women's MMA, and we see crazy shit happen in women's MMA. That's also why I like Cachoeiro to win it, but could also play the other side. Still, my pick, Cachoeiro. She wins this fight. Knockout, round number 2. Fun women's fight here. Flyweight division definitely picks up with some good action. Jamie Pickett and Jordan Wright. This is an interesting matchup. Jamie Pickett coming off the loss to Tefan Chukwi, who extremely slow middleweight. That's what we'll say about Chukwi in his loss last night. Actually, if you're watching this, I guess now it's 2 nights ago. So recent loss for Chukwi. Jamie Pickett was his most recent opponent, and Jamie Pickett is by no means a bad fighter. He's a pretty good kickboxer. Dana White's Contender Series outline. He got a win on that Contender Series. He's rangy. He does move fairly well. Doesn't have the best wrestling, doesn't have the quickest of hands. Jordan Wright on the other side, kind of in the same boat relatively, not the best wrestler, not the fastest hands, but does have very good karate style striking. Unique, I would say Jordan Wright is. I mean, he has very good technique, but durability is a serious issue. He's only got one legitimate loss, and he got knocked out, and that was in his fight against Joaquin Buckley. But also, you got to remember this fight. Hernandez destroyed him in like 30 seconds on the Contender Series a couple years ago. I like Jamie Pickett to win by knockout in this fight. I think Jordan Wright's durability won't be there. Pickett will be there late. He can take a shot. Even though Chukwi's extremely slow, he does hit hard, and he did land some shots on Jamie Pickett, and Pickett continued to move forward. Not an easy guy to put away. Also got to note, he went the distance with Punale Soriano, who does have some power too. Going Jamie Pickett, knockout, odds near pick'ems in this fight. I like second round knockout also here. Could also see it in the first though, depending at how the fight starts with what pace. Jamie Pickett minus 110. These are pick'ems odds, ladies and gentlemen, and I would throw down on Jamie Pickett. I like him to beat the chinny Jordan Wright. Next fight of the night, Andrea Lee versus Antonia Shevchenko. This is a very exciting matchup. Michael Key, shout out to you in the chat for being in here live. And no, I agree that Green fight, he got dominated bad. Andrea Lee versus Antonia Shevchenko. Let's talk about this matchup here. Flyweight division. KGB lead, 3 straight losses, had some momentum at one point, was fighting to be a contender, is in incredible shape, shredded out, taking on Antonia Shevchenko. This is the sister of world champion Valentina Shevchenko, and she also has a very good striking skill set. The Muay Thai is phenomenal. The grappling has improved tenfold. Andrea Lee on the other side, decent striker, Thai style as well, and is pretty good with her Muay Thai. She's not going to be at Shevchenko's level. I think Shevchenko also will be better in the grappling positions as well. I think she's physically stronger. She's also 2 inches taller. Granted, at a reach disadvantage, still shouldn't be a substantial factor, especially with the level of Shevchenko's game. I have Shevchenko winning this fight, unanimous decision. She's going to beat Andrea Lee. Lee will then be on a 4-fight losing streak. But one thing I do have a feeling is we could see an entertaining fight. Andrea Lee does like those scrappy brawls. Shevchenko on the other side, very good striker, maybe willing to engage and strike. We may actually see a knockout if they really go at it. But I am going to pick Shevchenko, unanimous decision. That's what I like in this fight. As far as the most accurate odds, you're looking at Shevchenko around the -140 price tag with Lee at +120. The odds must have opened much heavier for Shevchenko. So people are liking Lee by upset, but I was extremely impressed with Shevchenko in the last fight against Lipsky. So I have to push towards Shevchenko winning this fight, and I think she's going to beat the fellow striker, Andrea Lee, in this matchup. Next fight of the night, Mike Grundy and Lando Vannata. We are making our way through these prelims, guys. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you haven't yet, go 150 likes. I will be looking at the live chat for a moment right now to see what's going on here. Jordan Wright, yeah, the high-level competition hasn't really been there, and when it's stepped up, he's gotten slept. Oh, yeah, the Dawkins fight was a disappointment. But, hey, that's the fight game. Hawes looked excellent in that fight as well. I got to give him some due respect. But let's talk about this fight. Mike Grundy and Lando Vannata. With Vannata, you have a unique striker. The guy can mix it up. He does a lot of flashy and awkward things. But he can compete with striking against a lot of the mid-level fighters in the UFC lightweight division. But this fight here, being at featherweight, is going to be a factor. Dropping down to fight Mike Grundy could be a positive, right? He's going to have the height advantage. Still, reach slides in the favor of Grundy. The thing is, Grundy can also strike too, even though he's known as a good wrestler. The guy's an Englishman. They have hands. Mike Grundy, good wrestling. I think that he mixes the wrestling in against Lando Vannata here. I think that wrestling threat is going to make this fight on the feet more so competitive. I think Grundy will be able to get some shots off on Lando. I do think while they strike, it's competitive action. I think what separates them is the wrestling, and I think it will go to points here. Unanimous decision, Mike Grundy. I could see it 29-28. Lando Vannata, definitely a guy who's competitive in most of his losses, and I think he will have moments, but I still think Mike Grundy wins this fight. So I like him by a decision in this matchup against Lando here. Let's check out the odds for Lando Vannata. The dog at -105. Grundy, the favorite, -115. Near pick'ems, I like Grundy here. Of course, if it's a competitive fight, one big strike lands by Lando, it could change the night. But not a guy that's easy to put away in Mike Grundy. He showed very good durability. He was on a good win streak up until he ran into Movsar Evloev. Granted, did also beat Nadner Armani when he first emerged on the UFC scene. He's coming out here against Lando. I think that Grundy can pull it off, but 34 years of age, is he the safest bet of the night? Maybe not, because I do think it's a competitive fight. But I'm going 29-28, Mike Grundy. That is my pick in this matchup with him and Lando Vannata. Either way, though, I do have a feeling this could be a very fun fight. Next fight, Mats Schnell and Rogerio Bontorin. I really love this matchmaking, the flyweight division. I've always been a big flyweight division fan, and I always felt like it didn't get the love it deserved early on. Mighty Mouse leaves, and now I think flyweight is becoming a very well-liked division, and this fight is a prime example of why. You got Matt Schnell on one side, who's a very aggressive striker with excellent kickboxing, and the guy mixes it up with the hands, is so fast. really, you look back at the recent fights. I mean, the loss was to Pantoja, and he had Pantoja hurt as well. Granted, he got knocked out in that fight. And then Tyson Nam, he wins that fight on a close split decision. Absolute brawl with Nam. Nam, one of the best strikers in the flyweight division. And now he takes on a guy, Rogerio Bontorin, who's a very tricky matchup for him. Guy that's excellent on the ground. Very effective. With his takedowns, physically strong as well. And I mean, his striking is by no means average. I mean, the guy is a higher level striker for sure. Has speed in the hands. Also very good Muay Thai. He did amateur boxing and amateur Muay Thai in the past, and has supposedly had a good amount of fights there, and also does have a good submission game. 11 of his wins are by submission. You got Schnell on the other side, who has 3 submission losses. That could potentially be a factor in this fight. I think we have competitive stand-up. I think there's going to be moments for both. I think that Bontorin could hurt Schnell on the feet here. I have Bontorin winning this fight. I actually think he'll get a submission on Matt Schnell, maybe after hurting him on the feet. But gotta say, Schnell, a tricky favorite in this fight. But I still feel like the dog Bontorin, a lot of value here. A lot of things to like. Nearly beat Kai Kara France in the last one. The other loss was Ray Borg, who's a primarily wrestler. Beat Paiva. I mean, I like Rogerio Bontorin's chances here, and I like the matchmaking. I think he's going to get it done against Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell is a beatable guy, and Bontorin is going to be the guy to do it. He wins by submission here. I think if I have to pick a round, I could see it end of the first, or even in the second round. I think for the first 3 minutes at minimum, very entertaining and action-packed competitive bout, but I think Bontorin will separate it with his punching power and his grappling abilities. I'll check the most accurate odds actually on that one once again. Rogerio Bontorin plus 140, Schnell minus 160. So Bontorin, some money has already come down. I like him at that plus money tag for sure. I think he gets it done. Featured prelim. Not often you see Jacare Souza fighting on a prelim. How stacked is this card? It shows us. And also, I really feel like Muniz and Jacare is a great matchup. Great way to do this featured prelim bout. Quickly just looking at the chat here for one moment. Now, I don't think Oliveira versus Chandler will be the toughest. You guys will see my pick. Hey, man, we disagree on the Mazzani one, but if that's how you feel, man, that's your pick, bro. Nothing wrong with that. Jacare Souza versus Andre Muniz. Submission specialist really versing off here. I mean, Muniz has looked excellent with his grappling. Jacare, on the other hand, 3 straight losses, but let's look at the competition. Loses to Hermansson, very difficult grappler. Loses to Jan Blachowicz by a split decision, dominant world champion now. And loses to Kevin Holland in a weird from the bottom knockout that skyrocketed Holland's stock through the roof. Quickly just get a drink here for a second. You got Muniz on the other side. Okay, he fought Fabinski, got a submission, but who really is Fabinski compared to Jacare? Antonio Arroyo, sure, good performance, but had moments where he didn't look great, and Arroyo is by no means a killer. Jacare Souza is going to beat Andre Muniz here, unless he is a shot fighter. I don't think the cowboy effect is coming down this week. I think Jacare Souza bounces back. He gets a win. I think he'll knock out Muniz. Muniz is sloppy with his hands. He does have decent speed and nice kicks, but his hands are sloppy. Jacare can beat him with punching. Not a big height difference, but the reach of Muniz is freakishly long. Still, I think Jacare physically going to be stronger. I think Jacare's jiu-jitsu is better, even though Muniz is excellent with his jiu-jitsu, but still could cancel each other out when they do get to the ground. And that's why I like Jacare by a knockout in this fight against Andre Muniz. If I have to throw a round, I'm going second round. But I do think it could potentially come down to striking match, Jacare winning a decision, but I do think he'll knock out Muniz. That's more where I'm leaning, but it could go the distance here. Still gonna ride with my man Jacare Souza, who's a slight favorite in this one. Let's check out Jacare's odds. Minus 110 to minus 110 on some sites. You can get it at even money. Jacare is 41, so let's just throw the warning, the over 40-year-old fighter warning. So if you throw down on that one and it comes back to bite us in the ass, that is our own fault. But from what we have seen, we got Jacare Souza winning this fight. Even money, definitely. you can get plus money, even better, but it's very competitive. Jacare is a dog on some lines. I got Jacare over Muniz here. Muniz still excellent grappler, but I just think matches up well against Jacare Souza, who's known as a straight submission killer all these years. But we have arrived at the main card. If you have not yet, smash the like button. Whether you're watching on live or on replay, smash the likes. We're talking about the first fight on this epic pay-per-view card. We have a really good card in store. Unfortunately, lost that Diaz versus Edwards main event. Excuse me, co-main event, but 5-round co-main event, so could have been a main event anywhere else. Still have a very fun card. This fight to start it off, how good is the matchmaking? Shane Burgos, who's an absolute dynamite striker and one of the most entertaining fighters in the featherweight division, takes on Edson Barboza, one of the best technical leg kickers in MMA history and definitely one of the best Muay Thai-esque strikers in the UFC, period. One thing we've seen from Barboza up a weight class, he has been put out a couple of times against some of the bigger punches. The thing is, he's down at 45 now. His chin looks solid here. He's pulled off a win in his last fight over Makwan Amirkhani. Granted, beating Amirkhani by a decision, not the most impressive feat, but still a win. You look at the Dan Ige fight, split decision, thought it could have went his way potentially, and the Felder fight, thought it should have went his way for sure. We could be looking at a 3-fight win streak, Edson Barboza, if not for some bad judging calls. Shane Burgos on the other side here, coming off of a loss by decision against Josh Emmett. Super competitive fight and action-packed. Did beat Makwan Amirkhani by a TKO. Cub Swanson split Kurt Holloway, which after that point, it's early on in the career. Burgos is very good with his striking. There's a lot of things to like about both fighters. The leg kick of Edson Barboza could definitely be a factor here. I think the hands of Burgos could potentially hurt Edson. Still, though, long-time MMA veteran. I don't think that Edson Barboza is a shot fighter by any means. I think he's technically superior than Shane Burgos. And I do believe Edson Barboza can squeak by a decision, unanimous, I believe, over Shane Burgos in an action-packed competitive fight. Shane Burgos, the younger man, I'd prefer truly to go out there and starch Edson and skyrocket his career. But realistically, I got to ride with Edson Barboza to win this fight, especially looking at this plus money price tag. Edson Barboza, all money has come down on him. They've gotten a lot closer. Pretty much pick'ems at this point can maybe get a little plus money if you go to certain bookie sites. Gonna be riding Edson Barboza for the upset to start off this main card. UFC 262. Quickly, we'll check the chat. Right. Got some talk about fights on the card. Yeah, I agree, man. I think Edson decision is gonna be it. But let's talk about this next one. Katlyn, blonde fighter, Chookagian. Gotta say, one of the more interesting nicknames, blonde fighter, but works for her. Viviane Arujau on the other side. Matchup here, women's flyweight, which is a quick road to title shot if you're able to hitch a couple W's in a row, and Chookagian is pushing towards that point. Granted, I believe that she was murdered by Valentina last time, but if she goes on a 3-fight win streak, unless Valentina, is just saying no, I mean, she would be somewhat deserving of it, got one down, and now she's taking on a Arujau, a girl who's a pretty good striker, very athletic, most definitely. I like her Muay Thai stance, too. Her hands are very good, tons of movement, and she's just a fighter with pep in her step. I like the confidence in the way she fights. Chookagian, rangy striker, has been stopped before. That was against Andrade in the first round. Decent front kicks we see from her, but man, Vivi Arujau, lots of things to like here. Effective. I believe she has like a 94 or 93% takedown defense rate. Chookagian is not going to land takedowns on her. From the outside, she doesn't really have a reach advantage, and I think the speed advantage definitely favors Arujau. Arujau's going to win this fight. She's in a close distance, piece up Katlyn Chookagian inside. I think we might even see Arujau end up on top. And I think that she might be the superior grappler of the two. Arujau, high-level black belt. 2-fight win streak, Modafferi and De La Rosa. You look at Chookagian on the other side, beat Calvillo, but has that tough loss to Andrade. And prior to that, beat Shevchenko, the sister, not Valentina. Still, gotta ride Arujau, underdog, win this fight. I think she does so by a unanimous decision. Looking at the odds here, Let's see if we can find them. Okay, minus 135 Chookagian, plus 115 Arujao. So definitely some money's piled in because people are seeing that value on Arujao. So if you're watching this early, go throw a little sprinkle down. If you bet women's MMA, claim, gotta remember, women's MMA, our claims are fighters over 40. Women's MMA, most definitely two of them to sometimes worry about. But still, I think Arujao should win this fight. And I think decision here is a very realistic outcome for how this fight goes. But let's get to the next one. I believe this is the featured bout of the night. Yes, it is. Jack Hermansson, Edmen Shahbazyan. Lots of things to like about Edmen Shahbazyan. Excellent striker, knockout power in the hands, the kicks. He's high level with his striking. Problem, gas tank, experience at this point, being 23, inside of the top 15, especially fighting guys in the top 10. That is difficult at 23 years of age. You're just not really physically mature enough, especially not being a lifetime grappler, being more of a dynamite striker. Jack Hermansson, a guy on the other side who's a tricky grappler, 32 years of age, 9 years older, definitely in his prime. Reach advantage on the side of Hermansson, which I think helps his striking against a guy who's as good as Shahbazyan and is very technical. But still, Hermansson will mix in the wrestling. He needs to be careful early against Shahbazyan because Shahbazyan could knock you out in a minute if he lands something. The guy's very technically sound, but I think Hermansson will win this bout. I think constantly looking to chain wrestle, get this fight to the ground, put Shahbazyan where he doesn't want to be, and I think that's where Jack Hermansson will succeed, and that's why I think he beats Edmen Shahbazyan here at the minus 170 price tag. The odds are fairly close, plus 140 dog. Those might not be completely accurate. Let me double check on this one here. Plus 130 Shahbazyan, minus 150 Hermansson. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty close. Some money has come down on Shahbazyan. I like Hermansson to win this bout. I think he's going to do it here. To me, I think the matchup definitely favors him. Primarily striker Edmen Shahbazyan versus very dangerous grappler with competent striking, but wouldn't say he's by any means an elite level striker with Jack Hermansson on the other side. At 27, I think Shahbazyan, or even 25, Shahbazyan, I think sky is the limit for this kid, but I think they're rushing him. I think this is too hard of a matchup, especially coming off that tough loss to Derek Brunson. I'm going to ride Jack Hermansson to win this fight. Submission, I think potentially at the end of round 1 or some point in round 2 here. Looking forward to check out some of these props later on in the week. All right, we've gotten to the co-main event, and if you have not, smash the like button. Let's keep pumping that algorithm. We'll get more people in here, and we'll also get more people viewing by the end of the week. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching live or on replay. Let me quickly check out that chat and see some of your guys' picks here. I like some different picks here. I like it, guys. Should be a great card. Either way, super pumped for this co-main event, though. Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush. How good is that matchmaking? Dariush, a guy that loves a good fight, a guy that's in plenty of entertainers, definitely has some good striking, is excellent on the ground. Tony Ferguson on the other side, extremely creative with his striking and has some crazy methods, has truly a crazy style. He just does wild stuff, extremely durable. We saw that with Gaethje. I mean, he took Gaethje's best shots time and time again. Granted, totally got his brain smashed in that fight, and it wasn't a good performance, maybe besides that uppercut that dropped Gaethje. Definitely some things to like about both men. Fear, though, on one side is a shot Tony Ferguson, because then Charles Oliveira murdered him on the ground after that Gaethje fight. It's going to be tricky to come back from two dominant beatings that way, but I think if anybody can, it's Tony Ferguson, especially in this matchup. Yes, Dariush, skill-wise, very good. He's hittable at points, and he does have, I'm not saying a suspect chin, but he's got knockout losses. Let's check out a couple of these knockout losses that are worth noting. Alexander Hernandez, 42 seconds. Barboza flying knee him. That's forgivable. And I mean, he did get submitted by Chiesa. I don't really take that as a bad one. He lost to Ramsey Nijem by a knockout. And there's another thing that we really should note here. He was hurt bad against Drakkar Klose. Tony Ferguson, a proven finisher, proven durable. Yes, hasn't looked great. I'm going to throw in a 35 and over a warning here, but I think Tony Ferguson's not a shot fighter at 37. I think he still has a lot left. I just think he fought two of the out of the four best fighters in the world. I mean, I think at this weight class, look at Gaethje. He's top three, top four. Oliveira, top one, top two, because he's fighting for the title this weekend, and who knows how he would fight with Gaethje. Top fighter in the world is Tony Ferguson still. He's just had some setbacks to very good fighters. I don't think Dariush is at that extremely good level, and I think Ferguson is good enough to beat him. Though I will say the last three have not a ton of value at this point. Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, and Donald Cerrone, three guys who've taken losses. Cerrone losing a lot in a row since that point, and Anthony Pettis losing to Clay Collard. So yeah, I will agree. Ferguson in the past few years hasn't beaten very good competition, but I still think he can beat Beneil Dariush here, especially at the plus money. But I will throw in the over 35 risk, and maybe is a shot fighter, and we could be wrong here, but I still think Ferguson has the tools to win this one. Let's check the odds out where they're sitting at personally right now. Minus 155, plus 135. If Dariush wasn't susceptible to taking damage and getting hurt, definitely would be stronger confidence here. But he can get stunned, and Ferguson needs just one shot. He still dropped Gaethje in their fight, no matter how bad he was losing at points. We've now arrived at the main event of the evening. Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira and Michael Chandler. We'll quickly check out the chat. All this main event's pumping. All right. Yeah, you got some similar picks for you guys. You like Tony on a split decision. I do agree, fight of the night for sure. And yeah, I like my boy Jack Hermansson as well. But we've arrived at the main event. If you guys haven't yet, smash that like button and let's talk about this main event of the evening. Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. How about this matchmaking? High level. Extraordinarily high level. I mean, I love this matchmaking. I love this fight. Charles Oliveira on one side, jiu-jitsu master, extremely lanky, a guy that with those, thin limbs can lock up a lot of weird submissions. Chandler could be in trouble if he looks to wrestle here with Charles Oliveira. You look at Chandler on the other side, extremely heavy-handed, high-level wrestling background, extremely athletic, and jacked. He's like jacked, the most jacked fighter, maybe in the lightweight division, and he's always been super jacked. You can see him there with the freakish traps, very physically strong, high-level wrestling, straight athlete, one of the freak specimens inside of the UFC's lightweight division. Charles Oliveira, a specimen in his own right. Still, Michael Chandler, way too much power, way too much gas tank. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, he's not a guy that's going to be submitted easily. And I don't think he's going to play into a stupid game trying to wrestle with Oliveira. Oliveira is a guy he probably could win in the second or third, especially if the fight goes to the ground. He could throw something up, but I don't think that happens. I think Chandler looks to close distance and land big shots. He looked very good in that first fight in setting up his punches, and I think Oliveira will have to worry about that power. This is a guy who's taken a lot of losses, and knockouts have been fights in the past. I mean, he has been stopped before, and I think that Michael Chandler is going to stop him and win this fight by knockout. I could see it in that first round, and I think he's going to beat Charles Oliveira. I like Michael Chandler to become the new world champion. Of course, Oliveira's submission prop bet will probably still have some value if it's not too competitive. Right now, Oliveira minus 135, Chandler plus 115. I like the dog in Chandler, and I like the knockout prop for Chandler. Let's see here. Chandler wins inside distance plus 150. These are just early props. We don't have all our listed props. I like Chandler knockout. He's gonna beat Oliveira, and he's gonna become the champion of the world. What a card we have in store this weekend. Now, that is it for the prediction part, but the video's not over just yet. We're going to go over some potential parlays to play, talk about some bets. So if you're interested in the betting side, stay tuned and let's talk about it. I'll also be answering the live chat throughout this part. Who Usman thinks is better between Gaethje and Chandler? I'd like to ask Usman that. I think that would be a crazy fight, and down the line, matchup I really want to see. I most definitely think that's going to be straight action. Let's check out these parlays. Let's get some ideas in here. Okay. If you're looking for safer parlay, something I think has a high likelihood of cashing well for us and not an extraordinarily high risk, but if you throw money down, obviously you got to know sometimes it's going to be a risk. I like Pickett thrown in there with Mike Grundy at plus 257. I don't think that's a bad one. I also feel like Jack Hermansson at plus 218 money is good. I think Jamie Pickett has got this fight against Jordan Wright. I think that's a money pickup. Now, if you like Edson Barboza, you can throw him on there as well. So now you got Pickett, Hermansson, Barboza. I think this is a good to go one, especially the odds being very good for the Barboza fight. But you got to acknowledge the Barboza fight, striking, anybody can be knocked out. Maybe we have more confidence in a female, but as we've talked about, female MMA, tricky stuff to bet. You're looking at minus 140, so plus 445. Pickett, Hermansson, Shevchenko, options there. But the option that I actually think will deliver for us is Pickett, Hermansson, and Tucker Lutz. Now, if you don't like Jack Hermansson, let's say you want to take him off the play here, so we'll take Hermansson off. When Giagos, money will eventually be coming down for when the odds are released. Let's bring up this, right? At minus 200, throw Giagos. So this is not going to be accurate. And we're clicking Alvarez, but we don't mean Alvarez. We're just seeing Giagos at the minus 200 to give us an estimation. Jamie Pickett, Tucker Lutz, and Giagos to win, plus 415. That is a parlay I'm definitely liking. It's one that I'm thinking of absolutely playing. If you also like Mike Grundy, you can get plus 864 money. If you're looking for the crazier parlays, you know, the 4 fights, the 5 fights, 6 fights, and crazy money. And I mean, I think 5 fight is a high risk. If you want to go 7, 8, 9 at that point, you're playing wild games. But at the end of the day, can deliver, and it has in the past. Let's also look up maybe some dog parlays. If you like Chandler, you throw down at the plus 115 with Chandler and you partner him up with Tucker Lutz. And then you also throw down our boy Jamie Pickett, plus 639 for Chandler, Lutz, and Pickett. I love this one. It's close odds for every fight. Chandler, one of the dogs. I like the money on this one. If you're looking for a dog and dog parlay, because some of those dog and dog parlays deliver big money, plus 115 each, 362. Pretty decent value in that one. And I think there's definitely some plays there. There's definitely some real opportunities to make that money. If you guys haven't yet, smash that like button. Let me know in the live chat too. If you guys got any parlay ideas, any crazy parlays, if you agree with some of mine, or maybe you totally disagree, and have some of your own. So throw them in there. If you're going for a triple dog parlay, Rujao, Chandler, and Bontorin plus 1,009. A triple dog parlay could be crazy, but the odds are written by humans, and you can beat the odds sometimes at the end of the day. And I think this week is a week that we're gonna get some of these big dogs to come through. I like Chandler, of Rujao, and Bontorin. I like this 3-way parlay at the plus 1,000 money. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna throw the house down on it, but something to be made there. I'll do just a couple more of the parlays. If you're looking maybe for higher risk, you want to maybe do a 6 or 7 fight. We're going to do a playful parlay on this one that maybe you're just sprinkling. Maybe you're just having a bit of fun with. All right, so plus 1,134. We got 4 fighters on there. Do we really want to put Shevchenko just yet? Nah, we'll wait. Shevchenko's going to be a waiting option. We're going to check around what's available before we throw her down. I think I like Pickett better than Shevchenko. Bontorin, Pickett, Lutz, Hermansson, plus 1275 right now. If you're also feeling Chandler in the main, I gotta be confident in my man Chandler. You got now plus 2,855 money for this parlay play right here. 5 fight. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna make it crazy. At the end of the day, the old man clause applies. So be wary of this one. This one might absolutely bomb with Tony Ferguson, but we're gonna look at it. Plus 6,845. You got Hermansson, Lutz, Bontorin, Pickett, Chandler, and Ferguson. Let me check out that live chat and see what's going on there. What's going on, everybody in the live chat? What's going on this wild life? Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to everybody watching on replay too. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button. Let me know the live chat if you're watching live or on replay. Let me know in the comments some parlays you guys are playing if you agree with some of the ones I threw out there, because I definitely think there's some opportunity to make some cash. We'll be doing some more betting stuff this week. Cannot wait until the props drop so we can go deep into a full card betting specific breakdown. So watch for that video this week. That should be a lot of fun. Overall, though, excellent card from top to bottom. Some fun matchups. Fight probably most looking forward to has got to be the Oliveira Chandler fight and the Dariush Ferguson. Honestly, every fight on this card, especially the main, is excellent. But like a lot of value even on the undercard for entertainment. I'm telling you guys, the UFC is coming with fire this weekend after that UFC Vegas 26, which I thought was just a dull card, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't love it. Main event was still good. That Canelo event, though, was excellent as well. Canelo Alvarez crushing the face of Billy Joe Saunders. What a performance by him. But overall, UFC 262 should be some good action. I'm going to stick around and check out some of the live chat as we chat it up here for the last few moments before I sign off. I've been doing this with a ripped shirt over here, man. I think we got a rip in the shirt. That's a disappointment. Rebutton that thing up. You're fading Lutz, man. I'm gonna play with Lutz. I have a crazy belief in Lutz. But still, guys, I appreciate all of you for being here for this UFC late night full card prediction show. I always appreciate everybody for tuning in live. If you're watching on replay, love you too. We got a lot more videos dropping this week about the card. Anything you guys specific are interested in seeing, let me know in the comments. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and also TikTok. I post some things on as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Keep it locked in over here at MMA Experts. I appreciate you all so much. Shout out everybody in the live chat. Thank you guys all so much. Even you guys watching on replay. Smash that like button. As we said earlier, goal 150 likes on this video. I know we're going to hit it. So thank you all so much. And I'll see you all in the next one.